If you've never used elderberries, you are in for a treat because not only are they super, super delicious, but they're really, really good at boosting your immune system. They're known as an immune modulator, which means they're going to balance your immune system. They are very protective against viruses, specifically some of the strains of flu viruses, but they also help your immune system to stay strong. These are one of those things that you can take all through the cold and flu season to keep your immune system strong. You don't have to stop taking it like an echinacea or some of the other immune boosters that are more immune stimulants, because this is much more of an immune tonic. Now, you can pick these yourself. I've picked these from local elderberry bushes, and you're always looking for either the blue or the black berries on the elderberry bushes. Now, these have been picked off all their stems and then they've been frozen, waiting for me to be ready to use them. You can also buy elderberries dried from herb suppliers online or through mail order. I'll put a link to one of my favorites in the description below. And that you can do this exact same thing with dried elderberries. You're gonna be surprised how simple this is, and it's so delicious. It's one of those remedies that you're gonna have no problem getting your children to take. In fact, we often flavor our kombucha with this because it's so good. So you're gonna start with about 4 cups of water. We're just gonna pour that into a pot, heavy bottomed pot. And we've got about 2 cups of our elderberries. Now, if you're using the frozen elderberries, you'll just need to use about 1 cup. That's because these have a lot more moisture in them. And so to get the same strength of herbal properties, you only need about half of the amount of a dried herb. Okay, and we're just gonna bring just these 2 things up to a simmer and let them simmer for about 15 minutes. Now, right now, if you want, you could add a couple cinnamon sticks, a couple whole cloves in here. It's gonna add to the wonderful taste of the syrup, but it's gonna also add some stimulating properties, which is gonna make your body say, wake up when you take that elderberry syrup, and it's gonna help it to really accept the medicine and help it really boost your immune system. Another great thing to put in there would be just a little bit of dried ginger or fresh ginger if you have it. And then of course, cayenne is always a great thing to add into your remedies like this, your immune boosting remedies, because again, it just makes your body wake up and pay attention to that remedy that's going through your body. So we're gonna go ahead and let this come to that simmer, and I'll be right back. All right, now my berries have been simmering for about 15 minutes in the water, and while it has definitely reduced in volume, it is nowhere near thick. At this point, it is not a syrup. This is just more like a tea, an elderberry tea. It's a beautiful tea and a lot of beautiful colors in the juice. So now we need to go ahead and turn this into a syrup that will last in your refrigerator, be preserved in a refrigerator for a decent amount of time, or alternately can be canned. So the first step to this is we want to get the berries out. If you had spices that you added in there, you'd want to get those out too. Okay, so I have my mesh strainer here, and I'm just going to pour it over anything that will hold the whole volume of the syrup. And I'm going to go ahead and just pour that right on in to strain all those berries and of course any of those spices out. There you go. The berries have started, I don't know if you can see it, but they've actually started to lose their color a little bit because all of those wonderful properties of those berries, the herbal properties, the flavor properties, the vitamins, the minerals, all of that is now in that liquid. And in fact, you can even take your spoon and go ahead and just kind of mash that out so that you really get all of the goodness right out of those berries. You might get a little bit of pulp through your strainer. That's just fine. Nothing wrong with that. All right, now I went ahead and I emptied out any remaining little bits of berries there in the pot so I can pour the juice right back into that pot. Now this juice has cooled down quite a bit at this point in all of that pouring back and forth, and that's good because I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cups of amazing raw honey. Now raw honey has medicinal properties all of its own. It's a great immune booster just by itself. So we want to keep the raw honey raw, especially if this is going to get stored in the refrigerator where it's not going to be heated up. Now, if you want a canned version of this, you might want to go ahead and use the good quality honey that is not raw, so it's a little less expensive, so that you don't waste those raw benefits on something that's going to be cooked. Okay, and this is 2 cups right here, which is exactly what we want for this recipe. And because this liquid has cooled down a little bit, it'll be just fine for our honey to go into it. It'll still help it dissolve and melt and turn into a really good syrup, but it won't kill all the live properties of this. So you want this down somewhere around 110 degrees, somewhere where you can pretty comfortably put your finger into it. Okay. Now, that may seem like a lot of honey, and it is. It's a lot of honey. But the benefits of having a syrup that has this much honey in it is that it will last a really long time in your refrigerator. This will last for probably at least 6 months sitting in your refrigerator. So, you know, if you had a lot less honey in it, it wouldn't last so long. It would get moldy or go fermented very quickly in your refrigerator. Now I gotta say, fermented elderberry syrup is a lovely thing and it's just fine, but oftentimes that's not what you're looking for when you're looking for an elderberry syrup and an immune booster. Okay. Now I am just mixing that in and it has just dissolved right away into this warm liquid. So there is no layer of honey at the bottom. It's just perfect, just what I want. All right, now I want to go ahead and add about 1/4 cup of lemon juice to that. That just adds a nice bright flavor. It also adds to the acidity in the case that you would like to can this. If you want to can it, you would go ahead and bring it back up to a simmer right now and put it in your warm jars, filling it up to a 1/4 inch headspace. Then you would water bath can it for 10 minutes if you're at sea level and adjust that if you are above sea level according to your altitude. Okay, but because this one's going in the refrigerator, we're just gonna pour this right off into a very clean pint-sized jar. Now you can use whatever size jar you want if this is just going in your refrigerator. If it's going on the shelf being canned, you'll need to make sure you use either a 1/2 pint jar, a 1/4 pint jar would be fine too, or a pint-sized jar, nothing larger than that for something like this that's being canned. All right, and there you have it. That's how easy this is. Wasn't that really simple? That's your own herbal immune booster. It's so healthy, it's so good for you. So we're gonna go ahead and put a lid right on this, and it is ready to go into the refrigerator, of course labeled. Make sure you always label everything, contents and date, so you know exactly what's in here. Now let's talk about how to take this. This is an incredibly safe remedy. Now of course it uses honey, so you won't want to give it to children under 2 years old. If you want to use your elderberries for children under 2 years old, you could replace the honey with a rice syrup, an agave nectar, anything like that. But you can consider this to be just like a blueberry syrup or a maple syrup, some food item that you have in your home. What that means is that you can give it out confidently and freely to your family. Now, the average dose that I like to take when I feel a cold coming on is about a teaspoon to a tablespoon, something in there, a big spoonful, about every 2 hours, just to really give a strong immune boost. If you just want to take this as a tonic to keep your immune system healthy, just about a teaspoon every day should do the trick. Take care, you guys. Oh, and if you want to learn more about incorporating healthy, homemade remedies and herbs into your family's health culture so that you can avoid taking so many pharmaceuticals or over-the-counter drugs, check out my free 4-part video training on healthy healing at home. I'll put the link in the description. Thank you guys. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't and give a thumbs up.